All right. Hey, everyone. You have made your way to Mind Your Mind with Just Justified. And with me, I have my bro, Mingo, from the Grown Men Talking Network. I'm on a frequent a panel on there with them. And I'm just so glad to have you. What's up, Mingo?
What's the
How you
deal?
doing?
What's the deal? It's
You
good
at
to
it
be in the building.
again.
We at it again.
Yeah, yeah.
It's good to be in the building.
Man, so I
That's what's up.
had this crazy, crazy post that I came across. And I was like, nah, this post is something else. I know
Right.
y'all saw the thumbnail. It is dealing with child support. I know for some people that's a trigger word, right?
Oh man, for
Trigger
most of
word.
us.
Yeah. So it's like, so this particular post I saw, I'm gonna pause it real quick because I want us to hear it all. I don't know if I could let me cue it up again over here. But I'm going to add this one. This is basically about a man who shows his child support receipts. Right?
Mm,
Let me know what you talk.
right.
If you've seen it, let me know what you think about this one. He's showing his child support receipts. So here it is.
Yo, let's go.
All right. Let me know if you hear it. I'm not sure.
Street begging for money. You know what I'm saying? Looking for ducats, son, man, living for free and off other people and using
Spirit.
government help and such like that, man. I'm not doing any of that. Man, I'm working my ass off to be homeless and I can't even get government help because I make too much money at the end of the year. Like I make too much money to get help. And this is what I'm left with. That's 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks. Look at the month. Here's the month. Here's the month. Here is the month. That's the next one.
19
Here's the month. $11.95.
$1,195.
Get 333. So what's that? $680. 600 child support right there.
Look at that total.
That's what I get. Now, how many of you
Right.
parents out
349.
there are giving your children more money than you can afford for yourself? Like this is ridiculous. I'm getting
Mm,
stroked. I can't believe this. I'm a bottom bum right now. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the bum that's on the side of the street begging for money. You know what I'm saying? Looking for ducats, son, man, living for free and off other people and using government help and such like that, man. I'm not doing any of that. And I'm working my ass off to be homeless, and I can't even
mm.
get government help because I make too much money at the end of the year. Like I make too much money to get help, and this is what I'm left with. That's 2 weeks. That's 2 weeks. Look at the month. Here's the month. Here's the month. Here is the month. That's the next one. Here's the month. 11.95. I get 333. So what's that? $680. 600 child support right there. That's what I get.
Mm.
Now, how many of you parents out there are giving your children more money than you can afford for yourself? Like this is ridiculous. I'm getting stroked. I can't believe this. I'm a bottom bum right now.
So I'm gonna stop it right there real quick.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna stop it
Crazy.
right there. You feel sorry for him? That's the
So
question.
so it really depends, right? You
Mm-hmm.
know, there's these men that's out here that we should definitely say you should know better, right? These women that you sleep with, you're not married to them. And even if he was, you still have to be mindful. I went through that. I
Mm-hmm.
went through when I first started working um, in New York. The law was when you get a divorce, whoever has full custody of the child, the opposite parent has to pay child support.
I got you.
So I wasn't even making much money back then. And just because of that, I was literally my fault. I'm be honest. I missed the court date. So because I missed the original court date, the judge
Mm-hmm.
mandated almost like the majority of my check plus back child support to be garnished out of my check.
Okay.
Man, I think I was bringing home after taxes somewhere around after child support, taxes and everything like 100 and something dollars out of every
Dang.
paycheck. So I had to go to the court, and even my child's mother felt bad to where we both went to the court to adjust it,
Modify it. Mm-hmm.
you know. So that was the thing that was like, I get it, but are you taking care of your kids? What type of arrangements do you have with the mom? There's a lot of context to that conversation. Being at the post, I do agree that a lot of men are overpaying because I do
Mm-hmm.
feel like women take advantage of it. What is
Okay.
she doing with all of that money bi-weekly?
So now that you said that cues my next video. You said, what are they doing with all of that money? So I'm gonna give my thoughts in a little bit. I just want to throw them out there, and I'm about to show you this real quick. Tell me what you think about this.
All right.
All right, let me make sure I got the right one that I'm about to cue. I hope it's the right one. Oh yeah, there we go.
This is what some women what some men think women do when they send $100 child support check a week. All right. I can't hear it. You got the volume up?
Yeah, let me check it. It is all the way up. That's crazy.
You can hear it on your end?
Yeah, I can hear it. You can't hear it at all?
No, it's not coming back on this side.
All right, let me see what's going on with the volume on here. Dang it. Man. And this one was a good one. It has like a little comedic relief to it, but let me stop it and then I'm going to start it again. Let me see. I wonder if there's like something with the settings because, I'm still new at this, guy. All right.
It's all good. You know what I'm saying? We got this.
All right. Let's see if it's going to go again. You hear it?
No, I don't hear it on my side.
Why is it not playing?
Yeah, you're coming through fine, but for some reason I can't hear the
media.
The video.
I wonder if it's and it's all the way up.
It's all the way up there. And it's odd because you just played something off of Instagram. But let's get into the context of it. What is she saying?
So basically she's saying child support hit, and then she called up real estate. Can I get an apartment? I mean, can I get a house? Can I get, mind you, remember saying that she got $100.
$100 in child support.
Yep. So she's saying, can I get something off of Instagram? Can I buy a new car? Let's go to Red Lobster. Come on, kids, get your things. Let's go to Red Lobster. Let's go. Basically, she's like making fun with how much it is that she got, She said, want to buy a piece of land.
Damn.
So basically, she's trying to say, and I hope this is not going to be the problem for all of them because all of the rest are on the browser.
Oh, tickety time.
Dang. All right. But basically she's saying that, and she's saying because of the, trying to say that is not enough. Like, a lot of men think that they're getting so much when it's not really as much as you think. So
which I could agree with. I could definitely agree with that. I mean, $100, come on. But there is some dudes where, think about it. If the man's roughly after taxes, bringing home, let's say bi-weekly, $800. I mean, I don't think anyone's child support is really $100 unless you're bringing home basically nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's say it's $800 and you're getting $300 out of my $800. So I'm bringing home $500. It's understandable why a man might feel like, yo, highway robbery. Like, I'm not getting the majority of my check. That dude we was just watching bi-weekly, he was giving away $1,100, almost $1,200 roughly, right? Bi-weekly. And he was bringing home $300. So I could understand him being upset with that because it's
So
like, yo, I'm working so hard.
now this is where the argument comes in then, because you both laid down, had these children, right? Both laid
Mhm.
down, had the children. And children cost. Anyone who have a child, no, children cost. It's not cheap. Like daycare alone is what, 1,200 if I'm not mistaken, a month,
It's expensive. Yeah, it's
approximately.
expensive.
So and that's just one of the expenses that you have. So then you probably will say, okay, is it worth, is it really as much when you think about what a child needs? And maybe that should have been the choice at the beginning of, you lay down this and it comes with costs, whichever way it goes.
And I agree. The way I look at it too, though, is you know how expensive are children. So they do cost, right? But me having children, me being even a full time, pretty much with my wife and kid, I could say we on the child. I don't spend that much money, right?
Mm,
And and I have a 5 year old.
yeah.
When we look at situations when a child is much younger, it could be more expensive because yeah, if you're not just in a regular school, but like you said, maybe some type of like daycare or something like that, then yeah, you could be looking at an expense there. Also, the things you have to factor in is okay, should I be buying food for the whole house or just my child? Right?
Mm.
Should I be paying your half your rent? You know what I'm saying? Because my child is there. No, I don't believe a man should be paying half somebody's rent because y'all are not together anymore. Especially depending on who decided to break up, who decided to go where. In most cases, the woman leaves and the man pays.
Mm. And I get that. I get it. I still feel that as because I know for a fact when I was granted child support, it was probably initially like probably $150 for the whole month.
Because that's how much he was making. So they was probably taking a percentage out of his thing. So $150, he can't act like you buying Bentleys and taking the lavish trips now. I wouldn't even be mad at that. I'll be like, yo, can I just pay that on the side? Matter of fact, can I add an extra $50 to that? Something. $150 is nothing
No,
a
but that was
month.
a song that he sang for like many years. For
It was
many
like, yo,
years.
he thought you was balling.
Yeah. So it can go different ways for different people. But I do understand that it is costly. I as a single mother, I know how it is, when it comes to like on a daily expenses and things like
Right.
that. And of course, when they get a little bit older, it may shift. So, I don't think that it should be like one straight amount for how long, you know, like across the whole time and it stays that. Of course, and they do have that in the on in when it comes to child support. You can go back to court and actually modify as, if you your salary raise or if it, decreases. So,
Yeah, and that's who fights for that, right? So I'm gonna give you the example. In my instance, right? I started making more money. So my child's mother in that instance was like, yo, um, I want more money, even though she wasn't spending, the money necessarily on the child. It'll be like, okay, this is good enough to buy groceries. She had 3 other kids with other men. So should I be the one like buying groceries and stuff? And my son kind of told me, like, yeah, dad, she talks about it on the phone with her friends. This is what's happening. This is what the money is being spent on. Now, if it was buying food specifically for my son, then yeah. Um, so I get it, but like I said, it definitely has to do with the age of the child, and it's very hard to get it modified for the man. And usually, it becomes like a fight to get it modified because
mhm.
most women don't want to allow you to modify it lower. They would, if you modify it, they will want you to modify it higher.
Well, I mean, if you do have your salary goes down, you have a right to. I've seen it
Oh yeah.
where they do.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah, if you do.
it's like, because it's logical. Like, if you're not making that, how can you pay it?
Right.
So
Right.
I have
Yeah.
seen that.
Oh yeah.
But
If your salary decreases 100%.
yeah. All right. So next thing we were going to talk about is the bitter baby mama with the one. Let's touch on that. The bitter baby mamas. You kind of said something about that with on the phone thing and all that. I've seen that, and this is why I'm so like it can go either way on this topic, because I'm gonna state my stand right now. My stand is I feel that if it's an uninvolved father, then by all means you can take him to court for child support. If you have a father that's showing up financially, physically, everything like that, I don't think that you should, you don't really have to do that, because that father, if that father cares about their children and they're they're involved, then it shouldn't be one of those things where they have to, where they're having to be taken to court for it. I mean, like my ex-husband, my kids, they're grown now. They're grown. But up until they started in college and moved back to New York to be closer. They wanted to go to school in New York. So up until then, and that's, way over, past 18 and all that, he was giving money without me even having to take him to court on a weekly basis.
Right.
On a weekly basis, and I don't know if it would have been more or less if I went to the court, but I was like, okay, here's this man, he's giving the money and he's showing up in his children's lives. Right. He's seeing them weekly, days in the week and all that. He's still, he's very active. So I'm like, there's no reason for me to, take that route. My thing is, I kind of want the piece, as for the most part, for that whole, even the co-parenting experience for the child. The ideal is for both parents to be together, but then when it happens where they're not able to be together, at least they have that a security with knowing that their parents can get along and everything. Like I remember my old boss when I was in New York. I went to we come together on go to different trips and all that stuff with the kids, as in to say whether it was Disney on Ice, whatever it was, and we'll all go. He will bring his girlfriend, or I will, it was
wow.
Basically, yeah, we used to go out all together. It was real, yeah. So, we kind of made it where it was the kids first, not whatever, of course, after the divorce. Yeah, after the divorce, I was in my feelings at times and things like that. You know how it is.
Right.
But and of course, I will probably pull my feeling and be like, but after a while, it became so, platonic. Like we became like we were cool, and it wasn't anything funny, nothing. Yeah. It was cool. To this day, if I wanted to call him for to talk or tell him anything about the girls or whatever, it's cool. But of course, we respect boundaries. So, I'm not calling just like that for, but that's just how it is. So sometimes I feel you have to put the child first, and, their expenses and, all their stuff. And I feel like a lot of men too kind of get in their feelings about having to give the money rather than thinking about their child.
Yeah. There's definitely going to be those type of men, right? To say that a lot of men, I think once you're over your kid's mom, you understand that you got to pay the bills, right? You have to pay a child support. It's the way of America. Of course, the amount was going to matter to a man, right? So where it's like, all right, depending on if I'm making, a 6-figure salary, and you're getting roughly, $2,000, $3,000 a month from me. Yeah, that's like me paying the whole child care, the whole whatever, and plus buying you food a month, right? Because if I'm paying
Mm-hmm.
$3,000, childcare is, let's say $1,200 a month. Am I paying for everything for the child,
Right.
or is this 50
Right.
50? And that's where the courts don't do right by the man. So, of course, price definitely matters. I think your situation is an anomaly. I don't feel like that's average. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
most women and men don't really get along that well. And when there's a breakup or a divorce, it could be years before there's some type of agreement to where we could actually see eye to eye. We could go out together. Still,
Mm.
even to say go out with the other girlfriend or whatever. I don't know.
All right, so I'm gonna see if this one plays but you see the title already and you see how crazy that looks. Do you hear it?
Ooh, yeah. No, I don't hear it. No.
Oh, dang. So basically, this man pays his last child support payment $80,000 of
Oh, in
pennies.
pennies. Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that. Yep. Yep. He backed
So
that thing up and dropped it off.
now what I feel is like the issue is that even the daughter said this. She was like, he didn't even think about how I would have felt doing that. She felt
Yeah.
embarrassed. She felt, slighted and all
Right.
that. So I'm
Right.
like, okay, so, and to me, from this story specifically, I don't know about others. Yes, I know he was happy to pay his last payment, but the whole fact that, if it's his child and he's in his child's life and everything, is it really a celebration? And is it really like, I guess the official payment, yes, it stops, but then for him to celebrate in that way, knowing that, is something that took care of his child. So
Oh, yeah.
was that
I mean,
was
he
that
was trying.
celebration necessary?
No, that's petty. You know what I'm saying? I think he had a problem with her. So
Mm-hmm.
because he had a problem with the mom, it's like, yeah, you thinking whatever. Here you go. Take your money and leave me alone. Right? I don't ever have to
Right.
talk to you again. So
Mm-hmm.
100%, like, 100% wrong. But um, hey, it's money nonetheless. Go cash it, pick it up off the ground, and go get your payment. Make those
So I
dollars.
from what I got from them, they donated it.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I guess.
$80,000. That means
Mm-hmm.
they already had money because the average
Right,
person is not going to donate $80,000. They don't
right.
care how it comes to them.
Yeah, yeah.
So
So,
definitely.
there were other ones. Oh, I just wish it was playing. Oh my
Oh,
gosh, because it was some really good ones. But basically there was some women talking in support of, as in to say, um against the bitter baby mamas. But there are some like
right,
who get the short end of the stick. Like, remember I said I was getting 150 for the whole month,
right,
to take care
right.
of a child. And to be honest, it also talked about men working under the table or quitting their jobs when it
Oh
came
yeah.
to child support and trying to dodge it. And funny thing is that's kind of why I got that much, because the type of job that he had, it was paid
Under
a
the
daily
table, more or
pay,
less. Yeah.
and then he started
Hmm.
working on a table.
Right, right,
So,
right, right.
and I'm
Yeah.
like, how
I talked to a lot of men that went through that experience where they ended up quitting their job because the child, like, I'm not going to name names, but I have a guy that I know personally who refuses. He has all the opportunity to make way more money than what he's making right now, but he refuses to advance in his career because his child's mother is going to take all of the money, and she
okay,
goes and takes him to court and fight tooth and nail if she even gets a whiff that he's
that
making
he is making
a
more.
yearly raise or anything like that. So she's like, no, no, I'm going to bury you every chance I get. So he's just like, no, I'm not going to progress. I'm not going to move up in life. I'm good where I'm at. because my payment's going to stay where it's at until my kids turn 18.
Mm. But see, so I'm like, okay, where is the middle ground for this? That's the thing that I think about with it, because it's not like if some like children don't need it with, like, growing up.
Yeah, they don't need that much. So that's his thing. He knows what it is to support his kids. If she could, according to him, he'll be paying her rent. So
But
the mindset is, I'm not going to give that much.
But what I know about it, which is true, is that they go by both parents' income, and they basically figure it out from there. And they choose
but
an
they also
amount
take
for it. So
they also take percentages too. So yes, they'll look at the fact of what the mother makes, but let's just say the mother's putting herself in a position where she's living up under some man. So she's not making, but she's not being honest with what the man makes. So that happens a lot, where it's like you up under a man now, you probably a stay-at-home mom. This other man is taking care of you. So it comes like you don't have a salary.
mm.
So I got to
But
pay
then,
the
and
majority.
so no, well, they require for both, to be honest, because remember I was in this predicament as well. So I went going to the court. They asked how much I made, and I had to show proof, and they asked how much he made, and he had to show
Right.
proof. So with that, they calculated between that, and so basically it was like whatever we're putting in, that was the negotiation.
Right. Yeah.
So
And the same thing happened for me, but they didn't care in my case though. Even though the mom was working, I was working, and I missed the court date without even a reschedule, I got buried.
So that was
more than
probably
half
it.
of my check was missed.
But that was probably why it went that way, because you missed the court date. No?
Right.
If you made that court date and fought your case, it would have probably gone another way.
Yeah, and I'm not taking accountability. I mean, I'm not removing accountability that I missed the court date, right? What I'm saying is that the leniency of a judge, yeah, they could have adjusted it differently. But you see, this is just what happens to men. You know, the child support system is not a system that's designed in any way to protect men. Now, we can say that depending on the judge, the magistrate, or whatever, that it could resemble some type of fairness to it. But in a lot of ways, it's one of those systems that men usually, and a lot of men could contest to that, whether they're in their child's life or not, we end up paying. We end up paying a lot more than what we even have, whether we miss a court date or not. This is why people are trying to fight against child support laws now, because it's not, it basically, in most cases, sometimes leaves men with nothing. Nothing. You know, you can't even say I'm going to advance in life, because then the percentage of that is going to go up. That's the point. So yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, man should hold down his responsibility, but to what extent, right? To what extent do I owe this woman? Should I be paying should I be buying all the food for her household? Should I be paying all of her mortgage? Should I be paying her rent? Should I be paying her car note? No. If anything, half of what it takes to support my child, I'll pay. And you pay the other half.
So but that to from my knowledge, from what I was looking at, that's what they're saying is being done. Like they're calculating both costs, really.
Yeah, they're supposed to. But if you're calculating both costs, then it'll be even, right? So then you would say, okay, what does the mom make? What does the child make? And how much the child needs? It can always go back to court and adjust it if the child needs more. Let's say there's some type of sickness, illness, medical situation that happens. Okay, let's go back to court and adjust that, right?
Yeah,
right. Maybe they're in sports or something like that. So we could factor all of that in later, right? But right now, what does the child need? Okay, mom, you make this, let's split that in half. That's fair.
Yeah.
Not okay, well, the dad makes 100,000, you make 60,000. Let's pull $5,000 off the dad's account monthly. Now I'm paying everything.
Here's my take on it though, right? I feel like even though you say that you're seeing it where it's like in injustice to the men, I feel like it's who you typically have the children and decide
Right.
to take the action, because I've seen cases like it's been quite a bit of cases where fathers are taking their baby mothers, ex-wives, whatever it is, to court, and they're actually getting their their like just rulings. So I don't understand, like I feel like a lot of guys cop out because they don't want to do all of that. And tell me if I'm biased with that. Because I still am a woman, so sometimes I see things, especially after I saw, my struggle on the end with that. I feel like a lot of guys cop out because they don't want to go through all the sticky stuff of going to do all of that. And then even so, because with the law now, men can have 50-50, they can do all of that, and I don't see why it will be an issue for with men with that talk now.
Because it's still an uphill battle, right? So
But that's for everyone.
even though
That's for everyone.
well, it usually lands in the favor of the woman until you either, depending on what's going on with you financially, are able to fight that woman. A lot of women don't just give you what you want as a man, right? So this is why, like, I got to take me out the situation, right? And if you talk to a lot of men, you'll see what they're just experiencing in the court system. So, of course, the laws are supposed to sound like we got 50-50 custody. Okay, well, I got to fight for that 50-50 custody. Do you have money? Do you have a lawyer? Because if my situation isn't as good as yours, would the judge grant me 50-50 custody? Right? Usually the child naturally goes with the mom no matter what. So after that, I now got to go fight for my half.
I think if the father goes to the court and everything, they definitely, because that's what they want to see involved fathers. Usually when the fathers are involved, it's an upper hand in the court to me.
No, no, I can tell you it's not. It's really not. Like that might happen in some cases, but this is why men are upset, right? This is why in real time, men are out there fighting right now. There's literally men's rights groups all over the place right now that's fighting for the right to be able to have more as it pertains to their children. And not just more, like I literally want my child. I don't want to have to fight with you for this situation. Women go through it too. They go through hard times when they have to deal with a bum, no good baby daddy. We all know that too. But there's situations where the mom might have more than the dad. So I can't financially, the judge don't just be like, okay, you're a man and you want your kids, I'm gonna give it to you. They look at your living situation. They look at what you got going on. And if you don't have much going on, what am I fighting for?
But I not even with the giving with though. I'm talking about 50-50. I've seen quite a bit if it was gone for. Now, I don't know with the whole child going solely to a house, which was, I mean, with the favor, it probably may be like that. But I'm talking about 50-50. Once a father fights for it, no matter even if he's making more or less, they get it. Because remember, they are looking at the best interest of the child.
Yeah, and I don't hear that from men. And usually, like I would hear, it'll be like depending on his situation. Like a judge won't grant I'm gonna be mindful of the word. A judge won't grant a woman that is on some form of medication, right? The access to the child. They'll likely grant full custody to the dad. Now, if the mom wants the child back, she'll have to clean up her stuff. But same thing goes for the dad. Now, judge will look at where do you live? How much do you make? How can you, do this? And in some situations, yes, when the the dad could be living with his mom or whatever, and still he's granted 50-50 with the child. It happens. But
I've
but
seen a lot of cases like that, to be honest,
and but I've seen a lot of cases on the opposite. So now we got to
because
look at percentages, right?
for the mom, they ask those things too. They ask, you know, especially if she's going through all that stuff. If the father fights for it, you know, like bring up those in the court, it's looked at though.
Yeah, it doesn't not it's not saying it doesn't get looked at, but what I'm trying to say is that what happens the majority of the times, right?
Mhm.
And if because if it was the majority of the time, then there wouldn't be men still out here trying to figure out what and how they can get for their child. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying?
Mhm.
So it's not saying that it might happen a lot the way you may see it, or think the numbers may look a certain way, but men are overall having a hard time, you know, finding finding their footing with the court systems and being a man in the US. Divorces are not in men's favor. This is why men are choosing not to get divorces because sorry, married, because you got the older men telling the younger men, look, I got the messy end of that stick. So my advice to you, son, is just date or be a playboy forever. Don't get married. Fathers are literally telling their sons that because of what they went through with their mothers. So it's almost like men are like, yo, it's not even worth it no more. So they're opting out of even getting on that knee anymore. If it
I
was
think it's
such an
kind of
easy thing for men, then it would be different.
I think this goes sometimes though back to, and like for women who we give our womb to, and for men
Hmm.
who you choose to carry on your legacy. Because if you're
Right.
choosing, like, even if you're have to go through a divorce for whatever reason, breakup, whatever the situation is, and you have to, you know, move on from there, it's still one of those things where for the child, but you put the child first. And I feel like that more so is
Right.
an integrity thing rather than uh, you know, it's more of an integrity thing, basically. So
Right.
with us, as it's if that happens and you're putting your child first, all of this, it should be what comes to the child. I mean, even shouldn't even have to go to court really if that's the case. But of
I
course,
totally agree.
we live in a world where there are people that run out on their kids and, you know, are not there. I mean, on my hands alone, I have what I one of each situation. You know, I have my girl's father, my ex-husband, where he took care of them, you know, all through their childhood up until their adulthood. He took care of them.
Hmm.
Then I have my son's father, who at you know, once he was not in my life, he didn't want anything to do with the
With the
child.
child. Yeah.
Yeah. And this
Yeah.
is not, I lived in the same place for how many years? I opened up the invitation. We talked about that and all that. And he always went AWOL. He always went, what am I supposed to do with that?
Yeah.
He
I
even
mean, in
like
that
worked up
situation,
under the table to not have to pay anything.
right.
So, you
Right.
know, there
So
are
yeah.
people that go on each. So, I mean, I think it's like, here's my thing. I think it's the degenerates on either side, women and men, that mess it up for everyone. Because let's say
Oh
there are
yes.
people that have integrity that cannot that still can't come to a common ground when it comes to financial, because you know everybody is like kind of hold tight to to their pockets. That's, you know, it's normal, right?
Right.
I feel like it's the degenerates that mess it up, where at least even if they need to go to court for whatever reason to hash it out or have a mediator or whatever the situation is, that should be done without someone trying to bleed somebody out just to bleed them out, just because they have a new wife, just because they have a new boyfriend, just because they have, you know, all this other you know, the stuff that we hear all around, you know what I mean? So I
Right.
think, I mean, I think it's more of an integrity thing, to be honest. That's the issue. And I feel that this world is so far from that. It's,
We
you
are.
know,
But this is why, proper guidance, proper parenting, proper vetting. So if we had more stability in the home where it was a father, mother, um, the father, let's say, taught the daughter what to look for in a man, right? And the mom had a father, and kept a stable man. And we're not just talking about a man just being in the home, because we know that that doesn't work all the time as well. A man could be in the home and not be an actual active father. Like, he could be there and he could be either working all the time, not talking to his kids, doing whatever he's doing in his world, where
mhm,
the child is still missing what a father is supposed to give. So that happens a lot too. So,
mhm,
not talking about those men, but we're talking about the men that are like, I'm sitting my child down daily and talking to them. Sitting my
mm,
daughter down and I'm telling her this is what to look for as she starts to be of age. The mom, she's picking up wife characteristics from the mom. The son, and it's the same thing for the sons. The sons are picking up masculine characteristics from a masculine, strong, active, proactive, reactive in a positive way father, then yes, I agree. We need that. And if we have
right.
that, we'll have less of this. I'm just going to recklessly have a child with whoever, and then I'm going to say, I didn't know the person.
Mhm, mhm,
So then now this person, whatever, but did the person, one, give you commitment, right? Because it's one thing to marry and try and fail. But it's
yeah,
another thing to not even have any commitment and have a child, then be mad at the person for being a bum. He didn't give
yeah,
you commitment, but he gave you the highest honor a man could give a woman, his seed. And in return, you gave a man, not saying you, just in general, gave a woman will give a man the highest honor, which is her womb.
mhm,
So then that leaves, there was no commitment. So the man can't be mad when she turns around and try to bury him in court for child support, which I went through, right?
mhm,
Or,
mhm,
and in return, the woman can't be mad when the man's being a degenerate because he never showed you he was anything more than that. He just
right,
gave you
right,
a seed.
yeah. Now, what do you think about the women that have children too, and they've seen how the men are, and still have children with them? Now, I
That
don't know. It's
that
kind of
happens
harder
more
for me
often
to
than you
sympathize with that.
right.
You know?
That happens more often than anything. Like, how many women out here have absolutely zero commitment with a man? And this man is a future.
Yeah.
This man has, it's one thing when you was the first baby mom, right? You didn't know. You could always use the excuse, he hid that from me. I didn't know. Okay, you were the first baby mom. But what happens when the sixth, seventh kid comes out? Who's the more irresponsible person?
Right. Right.
You. You didn't take your time to either A, do your due diligence, to sit there and say, oh, he lied, I didn't know. That's crazy. Take the
Yeah.
time to get to know, or make him marry you before you give him a baby. This way, you at least have some fighting right in court. But it's
Right.
not happening.
Right.
So yeah, these women be knowing these guys are the pookies, and it's just like, but I'm gonna give him a kid anyway. That
Yeah.
don't make
I
sense,
feel we take it too lightly. Take it way too lightly
right?
when it comes to that, and that was what we need to go back to. Because I mean, I know we have something to say about those shotgun weddings back in the days, but
Right.
they kind of had more structure to that rather than just like pumping, dumping, and hit the road.
I'm not mad at the shotgun. I'm not mad at the shotgun ones. I'm not mad at arranged marriages. Um, I feel like if we don't go to arranged marriages, then we need to go to who is vetting out I don't think women should be vetting out their husbands. It's not saying that women are incapable of doing and making decisions, but I think the results speak for itself, especially in our community. We can look
Yeah.
outside our community and we can look at marriage rates that skyrocket over ours
Yeah.
because they go about their marriage vetting different than ours. We just go off of feelings. Oh, I'm in love and I'm going to marry you because, you know, I got these butterflies in my chest. Butterflies don't last.
They don't.
They
It does
don't
not.
last. That's just a
It does not.
feeling. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yep.
just a feeling. And when the feeling fades, you got to deal with the reality that this person is making you sick.
Yep.
What do you do from that?
Ever happened to the time where when you're dating, that's when finances, parenting styles, all of that is discussed before all of that even happens. Because, like, you know, if you
Right.
understand people's parenting styles, if you understand even understanding how someone's character is, if you see somebody is money hungry while you're in that relationship, like, come on now.
Right.
If the
Right.
if the money if the relationship ends, what do you think they're gonna be going after?
Right.
You know, so it's like
They
so
gonna
many
go after
things
your
we
money.
can tell, right? So many things we
It's
can tell
crazy.
from
But
ahead of time, and we don't pay attention. We just move. I feel like it's such an impulsive generation now. Like everything is just like we do it, pay for it later. Like that was one of my
right.
pet peeves from the whole YOLO times. Remember that?
Right. Yeah, I remember that. You only live once.
Yep, yep. And I'm like, it's like that whole rhetoric. I'm like, okay, so you do something and just by only living once, but then the all reality, if it still comes with the consequences. It comes with the
Right.
consequences, and they take that and just ran with it. You know,
That's
but
true.
yeah,
That is true. And it's you know, I think we live in a generation, not even to say a generation, just a time, right? Because this has been happening for quite some time now of a lack of accountability. And it's not the world. Granted, the world is going through its own strifes in different communities. But if we have to boggle this down to our community, man, it's worse than any other because we look at the statistics, we look at the numbers. We are not together. We
nope,
are not together like we
not
should
at
be.
all.
You know,
Yep.
granted, yes, black men marry black women at the highest rate. We love our women, you know, regardless of what anyone says about black men. But it's still not where it needs to be. Now, that's a different discussion, but
Yeah, yeah,
you know, it's still not where it needs to be.
yeah. So after all of this discussion, coming down to it, if they were to put on the ballots, yes to child support, no to child support, what would it be?
I would still say yes to child support because I do feel like you need to hold men accountable for whether you're reckless or not, whether you knew better or not. The point is that there's still a human being in the world. So I still will always say that you hold men accountable. Now, do I feel like certain laws should be changed? Certain guidelines of a child support law should be changed?
Mhm.
150%. You know, they need to really factor in. It's not how much I make, it's how much it's costing at the moment to factor into this child. Now you have courts. We could do court on Zoom. I don't have to go to a courthouse no more.
Yeah, I've seen a
So
lot.
with that, right. So with that being said, it's not like big court is crazy inconvenience. You set a date, schedule it, come on Zoom. Okay, show me the expense. Submit your expenses before the court date of what the child needs. So is the
Yeah,
child in childcare? Is sports? What's going on?
like a
Okay,
whole itinerary
regardless to
of
what,
everything.
right, right. Regardless to what the dad makes, regardless to what the mom makes, we split that down the middle. But it can't be, oh, mama just not working because of whatever. Now I got to pick up the majority of the bill. Or mom lying. We don't know what these women are doing. And that's the
Mhm.
thing, right? Most women can literally go and find a man to support them. Men can't do that. We got to go out there and work. So if you're looking
Yeah.
at my salary, I could be giving you $5,000. These celebrities, granted, those are the 1% of people. so they're not the majority. But look at that, paying $50,000 a month in child support.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
child needs that. There's no lifestyle that needs that. I'm supporting the mom at this point. That's how
yeah.
that goes.
And I get those cases because I've seen it. Like one thing that I know you probably seen rotating around was like Erica Mena from Love and Hip Hop. Is it Love
I
and
don't
Hip
think I
Hop?
heard of that
Oh,
case.
I don't know about, but you know, and Safari, Erica Mena and Safari from one of them reality shows. I don't watch reality shows like that. But anyway, I know that there was a clip though where she got a call stating that her divorce was finalized. She's there jumping and celebrating and all that stuff. Then they continued on to say how much she got. Then she's like
Right.
distraught, and she's like, what? How am I going to support my kids? I mean, and for some people that will be a significant amount from what they said, but you know, I guess, you know, she's thinking about her lifestyle and all this
Right.
other stuff
Right.
in
So
a
how
sense.
could basically it's how can I support this lifestyle? How can I still go on girls trips, pay for a babysitter while I'm on girls trips, do what I want to do,
Yeah.
buy a Lamborghini and drive the nicest cars? How can and this is what I say, if it's fair, then it'll be like that across the board. So let's say like
Right.
you're a rich person, right? And your child goes to a well choppy private school. Me and the mom supposed to be paying for that, half and half. I'm
Right.
not supposed to be fitting the whole bill. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? So, but that's what the courts do to men. It's not fair. It's not fair because naturally most men make more money than women. So what they're doing is taking full advantage of it, and boom, men are getting buried in the court systems.
Yeah.
Where if you look at it like that, then it makes it like, why would I even want to make more just for them to take it all and give it to a woman I don't even care about? I want my son or I want my daughter, but I don't care about that woman.
Yeah.
In reality, yeah, you slept with her, you gave her a baby. Why don't you care about her? But that's the reality of most cases.
Right.
You
Right.
just don't get along with your baby mom.
Yeah. I'm like, and that's where the whole putting each other, like yourself first in the whole thing rather than focusing on child too, where it can kind of get muddy. Because I'm like, depending on you, I know parents typically want the best for their children and all that stuff, but I do understand that with cost of living and everything that you have to factor in all of that when it comes to it. But yeah, I mean, so I get it. I get it. So as for me, I would say yes, keep it, but as you said too, reform. Like there needs to be some reforms. Now, what do you think about when they say, some people think that it should not be spent on any bills and all that other stuff?
I don't think child support should be spent on bills either, because I shouldn't be paying for your
Not
lifestyle.
even a
Now, if
percentage
we got
of the
50-50,
bills.
no. If we got, let's say we fought for 50-50 custody. So that would mean the child is by me 50% of the time. I have to pay my bills over here, just like you need to be paying your bills. Now, when it comes to the child expenses, I'll pay 50% of that too.
So that makes sense with the 50-50, but let's think about the ones where it's not usually like that and they're solely in the house of the mother.
Right.
Like,
so if the
they have
child now
somewhere
is
and it's like
solely in the house of the
temptations.
mom, yeah. So is the mom remarried, or is she, sleeping with other dudes? That factors in. I'm not gonna be paying your gas bill so some dude could be soaked up and relaxing up in your bed and under my dime, and I'm working hard every day. I could probably hardly pay my bill. You know what I'm saying? I'm struggling to pay my bills, putting scraps together because I'm paying child support, and I need to be putting money into your gas and your electric and your car payment and your rent. Like, no. What does the child need? You should be paying your rent anyway. You should be paying for your lifestyle anyway. Then we pay for the child.
Yeah. So, but so here's where I feel I differ a little bit. I feel like not the whole bill, But I feel like a percentage, because when you think about, I'm thinking in a realistic, like what I see now in a sense and everything. Like my son, he will fall asleep with the TV on all the time, his PlayStation on, his, a light on, or whatever the situation is, right? And that goes into the electric bill and the energy bill. So,
Right.
how does that factor in when, you're thinking about consumption, actual consumption?
Right. So then talk to your son. Turn that light off. You need to structure yourself into getting that light turned off, that game turned off, because we got bills. You know what I'm saying? So it's not me to have to pay for that. I don't live there. When let's say the child's with me now, I'm gonna make sure he turns the light off. I'm gonna make sure hey, you going to bed? Everything's off. Turn it off, because I gotta pay for that.
Okay.
You know,
all right, that
and
makes
then
sense. That makes sense.
you put them in, get them in the habit of that. But
Okay.
I shouldn't be paying for that. You know what I'm saying? Not even a portion of it. What does the child need? Clothes. The child needs to go to school, education, things like that. Especially at, let's say, your son's age. How much money are you really spending monthly on him, besides the bills, on him? Okay, you buy
Quite
food.
Quite a bit.
He eats a lot. He eats a lot.
He eats a lot. And
right?
mind you, he also sprouted up. That's a whole.
He sprouted up, so he needs clothes, right? But you're not buying clothes once a. You're not buying clothes.
Yeah,
once a
not
month.
every single day or whatever. It's true.
Right.
It's true.
You're buying it probably every 4 months or so.
Track.
Right. So if I'm paying for basketball and track, so that now we're talking about how we could split these bills together, right? How we could go half and half. I'm not paying the whole thing though, because we went half on this baby.
And I feel that I don't feel like you should. I don't feel like you should be paying the whole thing. It should be a collaboration, and I feel like that's where a lot of people are not coming to the table to talk about.
Right. Mm-hmm. But that's the thing. So I think you feel different, and definitely your circumstances. And like I said, a lot of it has to do with your empathy towards men, because you have a son and so on and so forth. But you got to think, a lot of women don't have that same empathy. They don't care. They literally feel like, yo, even if they have a son, they're not factoring in that a woman might do that to their son later on. So they literally would hurt men intentionally, because they weaponize the court system. And then after that, when it happens to their son, then it's like, oh, how dare she? I see that happen all the time. I literally remember situations of kids when I was growing up. The mom was doing things to the dad. All of a sudden, flip side of it, now the mom is like, the son is grown now and the woman's taking advantage of him. Oh, F that woman. Whoa.
Yeah.
You was that woman too. You forgot.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's so, this generation, I call it this generation because that's what I'm living through. So,
right,
and I'm just like, what I'm seeing, it's like, it's ridiculous. It's like, there's no, and going back to what we said before, it's like that whole moving away from unity and moving away from working together is like, and the whole blaming each other stuff rather than figuring it out. And that's why I do like about what you said your aim is for your channel, as in to say, promoting marriage and things like that, because a lot of people don't understand like that original ideal. It kind of like, done right, nurtured right, invested in right, taught right. It can make such a difference with a lot of the things that we're seeing now.
Right.
The family structure is such a different atmosphere when we're working together and, families are together. When we start with this whole, like, outside of the ideal, then that's when things kind of get a little, my usual word, things get muddy.
Oh yeah.
So
I
feel like that's the thing. So I mean, like, all in all, you know, I empathize with mothers that have to go through, especially you know, what I had to go through with my son's father and everything, with not fathers who are not showing up. I empathize with mothers for that. I empathize with the men that are trying and women are still trying to take advantage of them. I empathize with that, all in all. And I think that yes, there if it cannot be come into agreement without having the court system involved, if that cannot happen, then they then when they go to the court but still not even try to take each other down, you know, but even just use that, because you know, sometimes even in a regular argument, sometimes we need that third party. So if that's the case and it gets to that far, if not a mediator or the court, then okay, I understand that. But without the whole wanting to tear each other down, but just to have like clarity with it all, you know. But I don't like when it's everyone trying to tear each other down and trying to bleed pockets and, you know, all of that, you know, and not leaving the child as the center of the whole situation.
Right.
So I'm going to say with that, I think this has been a great conversation on child support. Yeah. And I thank you, Mingo, for joining me.
Of course.
Yeah, man.
I'm looking forward to doing this a lot.
Yeah, man. So, and you know, we've talked about other topics that I have up the pipeline. So, you know, hopefully we can make this a whole learning experience. I'm gonna see what's gonna happen with the streaming content and things like that. I mean, with the clips and things like that. I'll look into that a little bit more and make sure that that's up and running, because some of the ones that I had was really cool. Really cool. Yeah. I might even come back and just do something with that later to just put it all together and put it out there. But it's been really great talking to you. And you know, just hoping that we can all come together and find that common ground. Because listen, a mind is a terrible thing to waste. I don't care how corny that saying is, but it is.
It's real,
and
though.
You know, a lot of times we're just moving impulsively rather than actually thinking and using that mind. You know, your life is a reflection of your mind. So we got to master our mind.
Right.
Yep. Right. All right, Mingo.
Dude,
thank you for joining me, man. All right.
Oh, thank you.
We will cut it here. And here is the outro.
Peace.